let me end with something that I think we brought up last podcast where we talked about ethics, and it's a question of why do people have so much resistance to the concept of ethics or the concept of morality or of doing what's moral or immoral, ethical or unethical. Why do they have so much? There's so much resistance to it among scientists, among therapists, among psychologists, sociologists, anthropologists. There's just a good deal of resistance to it. They just do not think of it as a legitimate subject to think about in their consideration. So, and I'm perplexed by why that is. And so I would like it to put it before the viewer, uh, those of you who are seeing this podcast, and that is to ask yourself first, do you have a resistance to thinking that ethics is something we ought to be thinking about all the time? And and why is that? What is it about ethics that makes you uneasy, in contrast to the law, where people seem to be much easier with respect to whether something is legal or not, disregarding whether the law in question is ethical or unethical? So if you have any resistance to uh, thinking of ethics as a main thing to be thinking about, what's that based in? How did that come about in you? What about it makes you uneasy, or
Mhm.
um, and so I'd like to put it before you. So
All of us.
yeah.
And I think for some, it's it seems ambiguous, or it seems pushy to
Yeah.
say that we have to think of this ethical dimension. But
Hmm.
to me, it's quite simple in theory, and that is that where someone else's view is relevant, I have to consider that.
Hmm.
And I have to consider that alongside my own view, not diminishing my own needs and desires, but not using them or placing them at a higher level.
Yeah.
And it's much simpler in a way. Ethics is much simpler than we sometimes make it.
So too. Yeah.
We just take a question like, should I get a new vehicle?
Hmm.
Is there an ethical dimension to this? Are there ethical dimensions to this?
Hmm.
It's starting there. What am I going to have for dinner? Is there an ethical dimension to that?
Hmm.
Somebody's just walked into the room. Is there an ethical dimension here?
Yeah.
Somebody is asking me to do something. Is there an ethical dimension here? Just making the move in a very practical way
Hmm.
is a way in. And then once we say, well, there is one, there is an ethical dimension, or there's not, I can just